Okay, so I'm going to start this look off with the eyes per usual, and I'm starting off with my Tarte Shape Tape in the shade medium, just applying a nice thin layer of that onto the lids and blending it out using my damp beauty blender. This is going to neutralize the natural pigment that is there, and it's also going to serve as a primer. For this particular look, I'm going to be using my Huda Beauty Mauves Obsessions palette. And I'm going to start off with this taupe shade right in the center. I'm going to be placing that using my tapered blending brush. This is the E40 from Sigma. Using that in order to place it along the crease and just blending it out using circular and windshield wiping motions. Building the color intensity up, I think I go in about 3 different times in order to get a nice smoky look going. I'm going to be blending this eyeshadow up toward the brow bone, but making sure that I concentrate most of the product and the color along the crease. Next, I'm going to be taking this like pinky red eyeshadow that's directly to the right of the one that we just used, and I'm going to be placing that on top of the taupe eyeshadow that I placed along the crease. And I'm going to be blending that upward just like I did the taupe eyeshadow, but I'm not going in as many times as I did with the taupe eyeshadow. I'm just going to be going in one time. I really wanted to warm it up and bring a more pink red to the mix. I didn't want to leave it too cool looking, and so that's why I just applied one layer of this particular eyeshadow shade. Next, I'm taking this reddish plum shadow that's in the top left corner of the palette, and I'm going to be placing that along the crease using the exact same brush from the previous 2 steps. I'm simply just going to keep this shadow a little bit further down than the previous 2, and I'm going back about 3 different times in order to make this look nice and deep and smoky. Next, I'm going to be taking my E55 shading brush from Sigma. I'm going to be grabbing that and applying some MAC Fix Plus onto the brush and then going back into the palette in order to use this beautiful pink shimmery eyeshadow that's in the top right corner. That way I'm using it wet and it just looks a lot more intense. So taking that eyeshadow, applying it wet onto the entire mobile lid area, making sure that I stop right around the crease area and right before the outer V. And then going back to my E40, which is the tapered blending brush without adding any additional product, I'm just going to be using this in order to blend along the crease. Moving on to eyeliner. For today's look, I'm using my Kat Von D tattoo liner. This one is in Trooper, which is a black eyeliner, liquid liner. So I'm just going to take that and apply a winged line. And then moving on to lashes. I'm going to start off with one coat of my Better Than Sex mascara from Too Faced before moving on to false lashes. For today's look, I decided to use some wispy lashes. These are Temptress wispy lashes from House of Lashes. They're super comfortable, super flattering, super light, and they have a clear band, so they're very, very easy to apply. Moving on to the face for now, I'm going to start off with a color corrector for the under eyes. This one here is from Becca. It is their under eye brightening corrector. I'm simply going to be applying some of that onto the under eyes before moving on to foundation. For today's look, I'm using my LA Girl Pro Coverage foundation. This one is in the shade Nude Beige. I'm going to be applying that onto the face using my damp beauty blender. Next comes concealer, and this should be no surprise to anyone. I'm going to be using my Tarte Shape Tape. This one is in the shade Medium. I'm going to be applying that onto the under eyes and then blending everything out using my damp beauty blender. And then, of course, setting everything in place using my RCMA No Color Loose Powder. For brows today, I'm going with an oldie but goodie. This one is my Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Pomade in the shade Dark Brown. So I'm simply going to take that with my angled brow brush in order to define, fill in, and shape my brows. Going back to the eyes in order to finish those off, I'm going to take my Beauty For Real eyeliner. This one is in the shade Black Magic, and I'm going to be running this along the waterline only about 3/4 of the way in, and I'm also going to be tightlining with this. And a simple way to tightline without poking yourself in the eye is just to kind of bend your lashes back, and then you'll be able to see the inner part of where the lashes are, and yeah, tightline that way. That's one little trick that I've learned, so that way I'm not poking myself in the eye the entire time that I'm trying to tightline. Next, I'm taking my flat definer brush from Sigma. This is their E15. I'm taking that plum shade once again, and I'm going to be applying it along the lower lash line about 3/4 of the way in. So right on top of where I placed the black eyeliner. And then I'm going to be grabbing my pencil brush. This one is in E30 from Sigma, taking that pink tone that was right next to the taupe right in the middle. And I'm going to be using that eyeshadow in order to blend out the entire lower lash line. And then I'm going back into the palette using this white eyeshadow in order to further soften and blend out the lower lash line some more with the same pencil brush. And then of course finishing everything off on the eyes with some mascara along the lower lashes. In order to bronze up the face and contour a little bit, I'm going to be using my Shade and Light palette from Kat Von D. Starting off with this shade right here. This one is Somber from the palette. I'm going to be using that with my small contouring brush. This one is from Luxie. And applying that onto the hollows of my cheeks while blending and swirling the brush upward. This is simply just going to help warm up the face and kind of give that sun-kissed look. And then I'm going back into the palette using the shade Subconscious this time, which is the deepest shade from the palette, and applying that only on to the outer portions of the hollows of my cheeks. I don't want to apply that too heavily or too all over the place, just concentrating that mostly on the outer half of the hollow. For highlight today, I'm going to be using my Wet n Wild Mega Glow highlighting powder. This one is in the shade Precious Petals. I'm going to be applying that onto the tops of my cheeks using my tapered highlighting brush from Sigma. And I'm also going to be applying that onto the bridge of my nose, my Cupid's bow, my chin area, and then I'm grabbing my pencil brush and applying some of that highlighter on to the inner corner of my eyes. And last but not least, for the lips today, I'm going with this Huda Beauty liquid lipstick. This one is a matte liquid lipstick in the shade Material Girl. And that completes the look. Thank you all so much for watching. I truly hope that you enjoyed this makeup tutorial and that you found it helpful. As always, take care, and I will see you all in my next video.